What's up, Juventini? Welcome back to the AJC, your channel dedicated to Juventus. It's a victory show, and for the first time this year, yes, 3 victory shows consecutively. Let's go. Let's go. All right, so mixed feelings again, as always, because we can't have anything nice, but we are going to keep it up here because we do see, I still say, that was a game with more positives than there were negatives. So I am actually on the more upbeat side this morning with this victory. We still, hey, the war is not won. We won the battle, but the war is not over. So we still got to go over into their house and take care of business, but we're going to tackle the 2-1 Juventus victory and everything in the aftermath. I got Luca. I got Omer. Fellas, how you doing? Luca, how's it going, man?
It is going incredibly well. There's nothing like waking up for a show knowing that you don't need to shit on the entire team and weigh on this heavy dark cloud.
There we go. There we go. Omer, how you doing, man?
No, that gif of from the Titanic, like it's been 84 years. That's how I feel like since the last time we won 3 in a row. But I told you, I'm phenomenal. Great day.
Phenomenal. The phenomenal one, Omer, with us. All right, so yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun today. We're gonna go over the highlights. We're gonna go over talking points. We're gonna go over player performances. Not much in the news today. Everything kind of stems around the matchup, but the only piece of news is Cambiaso. We wait for his fitness, and we should have a good idea if he's going to be able to hit that squad list on Friday. So we wait for that, all right? Now, before we get into this game, got to say what's up to everybody. We got Wing of Winter in here. We got Trimmy, victory show 3 in a row. Let's go. Vincenzo G in here. Everybody up. Next up, let's beat Merdo. Yeah, let's make it 4 in a row, and we will talk about that upcoming performance. Forza Juve in here. Alex P. Norbert in here. Gio. Ori. Let's go, everybody, okay? And Ori's saying, what a night. Roller coaster Juve. Can we finally breathe before our trip to the Netherlands? Listen, Juve's got this thing right now where they're working on a lot. Like, we knew what was going on for quite some time, as there was a lot of problems that were kind of creeping up and a lot to fix. Yesterday, I only saw a couple. We're moving in the right direction, and maybe Motta, we got some signs that he's also moving in another direction, and we're going to break it all down right now. Your starting lineup, well, I don't think anybody, we had some changes we probably would have called on, but it was more nerves around Lloyd Kelly and nothing to do with McKennie, because a lot of us said maybe we'd move him back and utilize a different 10 in there. I definitely did, but it was nerves around Lloyd Kelly, okay? But the lineup, Di Gregorio, Weah, Gatti, Veiga, Kelly, Locatelli and Luiz with Nico Gonzalez, McKennie, Yildiz, and Kolo Muani. So that was the lineup. We'll get right into this with highlights. Guys, man, talk about starting on time. Something we needed to do. The attitude, the energy, that was fantastic. Great start.
They listen to the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. Shot a Jaeger bomb, some Metallica, and an alarm clock goes a long way. All right, let's rock and roll. They were ready. They were ready.
Yeah, and I mean, it was for the entire first half. The way Juve pressed for the entire first half was kind of new to me this season, because they were pinning them high up the area, and interesting. It got what we wanted, basically. That's what.
And how that played out, we'll talk about the certain individuals too, and how they played a part into all this. We'll get into it, but 3 minutes in, Weah working with Gonzalez on a lovely 1-2. He gets through. Weah ends up hitting it, but easily parried away by Benitez there. 15th minute, good pressure again. This was a long ball by Veiga. And Nico Gonzalez actually pounces on it, puts pressure. Kolo Muani, like, inches away from stripping this thing and walking in all alone. In the end, Gonzalez wins the ball, takes a shot. a little bit weak, but Benitez does have to stretch out there to make the save. 22nd minute, a cross in from Weston McKennie. A little too much loft on that. It was hanging up, and even Nico Gonzalez got way up and had to just hang up there in the area in the end. Not enough power on it, but a good, strong start from Juventus. You did feel like eventually we got to break these guys. 33rd minute, Gatti says, forget this, everybody. I'm going beast mode. And he just takes over, intercepts a pass, drives it all the way down, rips a low hard cross. It actually bounces back towards Kolumuani, who does slash at it to get towards goal. It hits Benitez's leg. It's a scramble. They pop it up, flip clearance, and Gatti comes back into the picture, chests this thing down, and Big Mac says, get out of my way, everybody. I'm putting this thing through everything in its path. An absolute laser beam, beating Benitez, and we're 1-0 up. Fellas, Gatti, this guy, when he gets it in his mind that he's doing that, more often than not, he creates absolute havoc. Absolute havoc. And what a strike from McKennie. Fellas.
You know what's nice about it? First of all, we've seen Gatti do that before, even under Allegri, but it usually ended up in a blast from way out. Sometimes it was close, sometimes it wasn't, but that was a bit more composed. It didn't look for the shot. He looked to pass it twice. Eventually, it worked out. It wasn't a tactical thing. It was something that breaks the tactics, just dashing forward all the way into the area, which got them confused. And we should probably do it more, not only stick to this methodical way of building attacks, and sometimes do something unexpected. And so, great push by him. And then McKennie with a blast. What a shot.
What a rip, man.
Yeah.
He's got some nice volleys to his name, man. So he just adds another one in there.
Score volleys in the Champions League. That's his thing. We've said it a couple of times before. More often than not, he is performing in the big matches more than the smaller ones.
Yeah.
And so he was great today great yesterday in general. But that goal, a beauty, and 1-0. Let's go.
The one thing about it that you can never say otherwise is that at least he's giving you 120% of himself every time. And I respect that more than anything, to be quite honest. Luca, thoughts on that play, that goal, Gatti, Wes?
I mean, look, you guys touched on it all. I don't need to repeat. But for me, when Gatti has a good game, it's lights out in terms of just who really leads this squad. I'm not putting down what Locatelli did and what he does, but yesterday was another reasoning as to why I defend Gatti so much. Yes, he has his games. He ain't perfect. I'll admit that right away. But yesterday was one of his, top tier performances, and he really just gave so much more. Like, you see this man literally throwing his body on the line. The thing you want to do as a colleague, as a teammate, is do the exact same, right? So. Yeah. That goal really summed it up. He had an incredible game. Yeah, I have nothing else to add. For me, a Gatti win like that is a
I was saying a lot of the time, the effort and the drive, that kind of fight, if you get it even from somebody else a little bit further up the field, it goes a long way. It goes a lot further than just trying to be too cute. And it gave me that feeling that what I was talking about leading up to that point, good pressure, good offense, good momentum and stuff, but you can't make anything of it, almost like we're just too cute. And it felt like Gatti just at one point was you know what, enough of this. Just get after it and just go like a bull in a friggin' china shop. And then that's what we end up scoring off of, and it's, you can't be afraid to get ugly. Throw the ball into the mixer, have a shot from somewhere, even if it's maybe a bad angle, but you got a line of sight on goal. Somebody crash the goal hard, get ugly, get after it. When we're a little too cute, we end up with sequences that don't even end up with opportunities sometimes, and that's what drives me nuts. So I appreciated this one a lot. We get the 1-0 lead. We ended halftime like that, and that was a strong half. Strong half. We get to the second. Instantly, Imbangula enters for Yildiz, and a lot of fans absolutely confused about this one. Some were wondering, like, look, is this injury-wise or whatnot? But how did you feel about that change at half? It was a little bit surprising. I mean, Yildiz was quiet, but the whole left side kind of took a back seat to the good work that was happening on the right between McKennie, Luiz, Nico, and Weah. So, what did you guys think when you saw Imbangula come in for Yildiz? We'll start with Luca.
I threw it in our chat right away. Like Mota has not been one to make subs at half unless it was injury based. So I was questioning it. A lot of the guys agreed with me. It was, a questionable one. But I mean, I had no issues with it. Imbangula
And the good news is
in,
we did hear it's not injury related. He
correct.
did come out and say it was just tactical, so he's fine.
Right. So to your point, Bert, I mean, that left side, I don't care who came in, we were dominating that right just because it was doing so well. And I think this was a tactic that I spoke on. Like, Mota loves pushing one of his fullbacks forward a lot more aggressively. In this case, it was Weah. So on the left side, you have Kelly tucking in more as a third center back. And then our left side where Yildiz is obviously gets affected. So I don't think it was really anything against Yildiz. I think he was fair. He wasn't bad. Bangula coming in, I had no issues with it. If it was an adjustment tactically, fine. It worked. I got no gripes with it.
Yeah. Omer, anything to add with the sub?
Yeah, I was completely fine with it. No issues. Yildiz couldn't find a way to get himself into the match and get himself more involved. And Bangula did. So, yeah, we have Inter in a few days. I think it was called for.
Yeah.
That's up.
Yeah. I had no real issues with it. Like I said, I didn't like the way he was glued to the left flank, but keeping Lloyd Kelly back does change things for his flank. I think if you saw Yildiz on the right side and Nico on the left, I think you would have reversed who was the ghost of the game. And I think it would have become Nico, and Yildiz would have been torching with all those guys because our right side was the dominant one. So I think he was kind of a victim of circumstances. And I think Imbangula, to some degree, showed that because he had to move away from the flank to get on it. What happened when he got on it wasn't pretty all the time, okay? But in the end, he finds the winner. Shout out to David here. Much appreciated for the super chat. That's another way to support the channel, everybody. We appreciate it. He says, I like Gatti's Grinta and Desire, but sometimes it's just too much. You know what? Sometimes. But yesterday was just right. It was just right. And I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. All right. Now, we get going. Here. Can you have too much Grinta?
But that's like I'm worried about that question. Is it bad that he was too into it? Like he gets, maybe he wants to
if
say
you're
he has too
getting
much.
sent off repeatedly, I say okay, dial it back. But like, if you're,
No, but I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's a bit like you gotta calculate when you want to push that high and join that attack, and sometimes, but he's fairly young, and that's things you learn over time to read the game and know when it's right. So I get what he's saying, and I sort of agree.
Yeah. So it's a combination of things. Trying to do too much. Even on the ball, like sometimes if he wants to go into those modes and then you lose it or something. So it's like, it's just dialing it and becoming, like Omer said, perfectly more calculated. But now we move into second half highlights. 50th minute. Weah with a fantastic run up the right side. This guy as right back, I'm telling you, it's just, he's way better, way more effective. So fantastic run up the right side, crosses it in, and Imbangula does direct this thing towards goal. And unfortunately, Flamingo gets his beak on it and knocks it out of there. Okay, that damn defender Flamingo gets his beak on it, clears it out. No such luck for Juve. 56 minutes. And we get a little bit of controversy. Handball? Was it handball?
I still haven't seen a replay.
I don't think it was.
So this is the thing. And again, these fucking handballs, boys. I told you on the last show, like we were all getting into it. I'm like, it's the worst rule right now. It's a lot going on. So here's we're only doing this from snapshot, okay? We're only doing this from snapshot, but when you watch the video, and I said, I think the only saving grace for him, because even to say that the arm is in an unnatural position, it's bent at the elbow, but it touches belly and chest, kind of like it touches his abdomen region first, and that is factored into calls. I said, like, if it hits another body part first, they do factor that in. This, however, does help him control the ball. It's a tough one. We pull in l'arbitro Nick, and the other thing is, when you watch the video, it's not definitive whether it's touching the side or anything like that. So he says potential handball in the build-up in this play. I think we definitely see a touch on the arm of a PSV player. That's no question in the build-up. While the ball potentially hits the player's chest or abdomen region first, the main consideration here is arm position. The arm is in an unnatural position, and the touch on the arm certainly helped the player control the ball. The referee signaled many times that he saw a touch on the shoulder. Ultimately, I think VAR had trouble finding a video that showed the clear evidence to overturn this. While I think this should have been a handball, I think the real issue here is inconsistency in these plays. The handball rule remains the most controversial rule in football. There you go. And you could see a mix here that it's mixed in the chat too. No handball. Yes, it's a handball. Not a handball. When it hits your body, it's supposed to give you a little bit of a cushion if it hits body first and everything. Even calling that arm unnatural, I mean, from the elbow out, yes. But even if he puts his arm straight there, it's probably going to contact it. So it's one of these weird ones. But yeah, it definitely helps him control it. So probably should have been called back. Nonetheless, it doesn't get called. Okay? Doesn't get called. The play goes on. They take a rip. It gets headed by Locatelli. And the friggin' deflection off this header is like wild to me because it goes straight out to the side. It's high. It's coming down. Perisic, well, he gets Lloyd Kelly to bite on the feint. And this is an ugly snapshot. When you've got your back to a player, he's cutting in on the area, something has gone horribly wrong anytime your back is to play as a defender. And we know how it finishes. Perisic buries short side. I think this is very unfortunate for Kelly, who actually overall had a decent showing, I'd say, and there was some good stuff in there. There was some bad stuff in there, but this was, it was an ugly one. Fellas, this goal?
Yeah, that's kind of the child. Like
it's a fundamentally bad play from him.
Yeah, I mean, if you know Perisic, you know he's left-footed, you know he's looking for that exact shot. He's done it a million times. No point in covering his right leg, and like it's pretty obvious what he's going to do. Kelly should have been on that. Maybe it's a bit of coaching stuff. No, tell him he's left-footed, guard his left, he doesn't use his right that much. But all in all, it's a mistake by Kelly, who I didn't think he had a bad game.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't like a strong performance by any means, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't as bad as many made it out to be. Yeah. This one stands out as a terrible play, which it was, but he wasn't terrible.
He broke down two important counterattacks, and he had minor, issues here and there, but that was like a glaring mistake.
Yeah.
And time will tell if it will have any bearings on the second leg. But if not, then okay, learn from it, move on.
Yeah. Luca, anything to add there on this this goal conceded?
For me, I want to just touch on what Alberto and Nick said. The absolute fact that we didn't really see any video replays of that just tells me, even VAR didn't have much to go on. That aside, the absolute lack of focus after that. Like you saw it, all our backline was jogging after that handball. So I was wrapped up in the fact that they were all convinced it was handball. But then what really bothered me once play went on and once we got through the check and everything is that these guys just checked out. And I see it. We've seen it happen. If you played the sport, you've seen it happen. But at this level, it's unacceptable. And I'm not going to, back up Kelly here. I think that's a basic defending mistake.
Yeah.
You know he's going to take that inside, especially Perisic.
I'd go a step further to say you're blocking a shot. You still don't turn your back. Like you solidify yourself and you stand your ground so that you could still see what happens so that you can adjust. To turn around completely to get your back to play is like, what on earth is happening here?
Yeah.
It's shocking. But I agree with you. It's the letdown looking for a handball. Like, play on. Bail yourself out of moments, like situations where maybe something doesn't go right. And you're absolutely right. We continue on. It's 1-1 now. And I got to say, I don't like I felt this game was the same but different in a sense that we did have a let up. But this time it wasn't when we went up a goal. It was when we equalized, like we got the equalizer, and then all of a sudden I felt nerves. I felt like you could visibly see them shell-shocked. And we got clunky. Our game got clunky and broken, and all the good stuff that was happening kind of faded for a while. And it was like, man, what is happening? Thankfully, we do find a nice build-up. 81st minute, we work it left to right. Mbangula involved, and he carries on with the flow of the play. Scrap this nonsense of all your guys so far apart at the top, and he just follows the play, follows the progression naturally. It does find Chico on the right. He skins his man, puts a low hard cross. Yes, okay, we do need to be more efficient, but we get it this time. It's a low hard cross. Benitez comes out to stop it. All he does is put it on a platter for Mbangula, who gives us the 2-1 lead, and we move on, all right? So we take that advantage. That's where it ends there. And it doesn't end right there because we have a newcomer that wants to get some props. And the 90th minute, we got a little header onto one of their substitutes, and that was Till. He gets it headed into the area there, and Veiga stands him up and then says, hey, show me some love, Curva. And he sellies like as if he had scored a goal. And that is the quickest and easiest way you get yourself some heart points with the Tifosi. All right? But Veiga, man, that's a solid showing from Veiga. And we'll talk about Veiga and everything. The game ends there shortly after that stoppage. 2-1 Juventus. Like I said, the first leg, the battle, it's ours. The war continues. We'll have Inter in between. But your overall thoughts on this matchup, fellas, before we get into player performances. Omer, overall, quick hitters.
Well, first of all, I gotta correct Alex P. That's not a Marseille beanie. That's a Dream Theater beanie. But I get the mistake. It kind of looks the same, the logo. But never a Marseille beanie, not for Rabiot ever. Overall thoughts. That was a much more enjoyable game than what we got used to in the past few months. Could have been like a bit better. I would have liked to go with a 2-goal cushion into the away match. But honestly, third win in a row, I mean, I can't complain too much. Just keep it up.
Yeah. And then Luca, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, look, like Omar said, it was an exciting and impressive game from Juve's side. Like that first half was refreshing. Like it was incredible to see. Like where had this team been the last couple of months? I'm only saddened by the fact that we didn't put 2, 3, maybe 4 more away because we could have. We just weren't sharp enough. And in this in this round of the Champions League, you need those. So. It's unfortunate that we conceded, but I mean, it was a great showing, and we had very impressive performances from players. We needed to have good performances. So, all in all, I'm just happy that we got the win. More than that, it's progress. That's all that matters.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, we can all point out the obvious glaring things that we need to clean up. Back post coverage was suspect throughout this game, without a doubt. That's got to get cleaned up. I think in general, in the attacking side of things, you absolutely have to find a way to stop these sequences and moments from ending in nothing. You have to get at least an attempt on goal. Like, we have way too many moments when you are feeling it and you are going at a team, like, you have to come away with something. So the efficiency, and this isn't down to one guy, because even Chico Conceição, he came off the bench, he showed life, he was good, but a lot of it ended in nothing. So it's like, it has to end in something or it means nothing. You can beat one guy, you could beat two guys, but at the end of it, if it's a turnover and then they counter us, it means nothing. So all of these guys have to dial it in, and the quality of crossing has been piss poor from mostly the wingers. Yildiz was like, terrible. He sent one good quality cross out of the 4 or 5 he even attempted in there. You've got to give your guys a chance. So the efficiency, absolutely 1000% has to ramp up. The positives for me, one of the big ones is, and we talked about it in the green room, fellas, it's the first time in a while that I've seen us willingly and openly and actively try to defend higher up the pitch. And it helped the mids, and it helped the forwards at least get forward and be able to turn turnovers into attacking moments. So that's a positive. The new guys are like, Veiga is adding an element that we needed. Big time. Big time.
Yeah.
So, good pickup. Kolomouani, that's one of those games where we start to see the lack of service show. He's going to have a soft rating, and not for his own doing, just like Yildiz. Not technically really a whole lot for his own doing, but just the way the system played out, the way the game played out, he had very few moments to try and make the most out of, and still almost latched on to a couple goals. Because we did have a nice cross in that fell at his feet, and he just couldn't quite connect properly. And then he almost slammed that Gatti first cross in home off the quick rebound. So it's just one of those games where sometimes players get sacrificed. We are going to go through ratings real quick, and we're going to get to man of the match. All right, so going to take Veiga out of there, get the ratings up here. So we're going to start obviously at the back. We're going to try and rip through these really quick, but when we get to your personal man of the match, just let me know, fellas, when we hit him, okay? So Di Gregorio, as you see there, he's at a 6.6, okay? I don't disagree with that. I think 6.6 is fine. I don't think there was any work that needed to put him up at a 7 or anything like that. It's just the way the game kind of fell. Way at a 7? Absolutely. I had him at a 7 for sure. Everybody starts at 6, 7 for sure. Omer?
Yeah, I know Gatti might be for most, so I'm going to go with Wea as my man of the match.
Nice.
Yeah, the work that he did, first of all, saved a lot from Kelly, who just needed to focus on defense at first before he starts attacking. But what a nice surprise, because he manages to deliver on both fronts, which is something we barely got from any of our fullbacks this season. Defensively, he's very hard to beat because of his speed, and he is physical and a pretty strong guy. And he even last season he went up against Leao and Kvaratskhelia and some of those guys, and they couldn't get the best of him.
Yeah.
But he also has the numbers in attack. Yeah. He has the assist, he has the goal, so he's a fullback now that can contribute on both fronts. He was a live wire for the entire match and kept them busy, kept pushing them all the time, quick to rebounds. He was man of the match. He really dictated how the game went. Because of his presence on the right, Juve tried to attack a lot more from there. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
for
there
me,
you
he's
go.
man
So
of the
Omer's
match.
got Weah as his man of the match. Nice. Yeah, he was, and you, yeah, that's great discussion. Livewire, also fantastic song by Motley Crue. Oh, love it.
Fully
Livewire.
agree.
Now, Gatti, 7.6, the official man of the match for this game, and he was my man of the match. I had it between two players. He was one of them, and I ultimately went with Gatti. Inspired the first goal and played solid throughout, and is forming something that we need with him and Veiga. And you saw the backside of that celebration with Veiga was Gatti immediately coming over and the two embracing, like after celebrating the stoppage like a goal. So Gatti was my man of the match, clear, hands down in this game. Luca, are we still moving for yours?
No, Gatti, I'm with
Gatti?
You said everything. I don't have to
Yeah.
add more.
McKennie was the other shout for me.
Yeah, shout
Obviously,
out
and
to
we'll
McKennie.
get to him. Veiga, 7. Yeah, if not right there next to Gatti. Veiga had, like, his ball distribution was fantastic
Much
in this
better.
game. Very,
He's very
very good.
aggressive. He's very aggressive in his play.
He
Very.
also carried one through the entire team up the middle, almost dished it to Kolomuani for a strike. Vega's adding everything we need. Solid at the back, and he's good on the ball. This, we'll talk about make it permanent, okay? We'll talk about make it permanent. Lloyd Kelly, I definitely did not have him at a 7, okay?
6-8.
I had him between 6 and 6.5. If I'm looking at the negatives, obviously there's some negatives because it's not clean. Like, it's not clean. It's not polished by any means. That goal takes a big knock. But the positives were he moved the ball quickly. Like, when he got it, he saw Yildiz right away, and it was like, boom, here, take it and go. And he had the willingness to help us as a defensive line push forward and defend higher up, and he actually did have several nice interventions, but there's no way he touches a 7 for me. But maybe, just maybe, I'm not completely dead on this guy is because of how nervous I was for him going into this game, expecting Bakayoko to be there. But to be honest, Bakayoko didn't really do a whole bunch when he came on, and Kelly looked about the same throughout, and Perisic probably being out there outside of that goal probably helped Kelly in the long run, but maybe it was my expectations and my fear that led me to feel like it wasn't a complete,
Okay, so I'll ask a question because I mean, looking from the positive side, was it better than his last showing?
Yes.
Yes.
And are Eindhoven better than Como?
Yes, although
Possibly.
didn't play like it, but yes.
Yeah, so that's an improvement. Okay,
Yeah.
now we need to improve
We'll take
more.
it. We'll take it like that. We'll take it like that. Douglas Luiz, 7.1. You won't hear any complaints from me at a 7.1 for Luiz.
Might be his best match for you
His
this
best.
season.
Easily.
Me, it is
Easily.
hands down his best match for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Locatelli at a 7. I actually didn't have him at a 7.
Yeah.
I thought he had a very quiet game.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of the presence of Luis and they kind of occupied the same space, so it was a bit confusing, but it wasn't his best showing.
I like a 6.3, 6.4, pretty flat. Like I said, that left side in general, not a lot of influence or impact coming from there. But again, Locatelli doing his work defensively, which you'll always get. But I'm at about 6.3, 6.4. Nico Gonzalez at a 7. Yeah, he was actually involved in a lot of the fluidity at the start there. He works hard. He was working hard. Got a couple attempts. He's always in the mix, but like 7, maybe 6.6 around there.
Yeah, I like his work rate. Every match, that's the thing that sticks out. He runs a lot, he presses a lot. The end product, the numbers need to be a bit better, okay. I agree. But I do like what I'm seeing from him in general. Like that's
Yeah.
the kind of attitude I would have liked from everyone.
I'd agree. I'd agree with that. Luca, your thoughts on a 7 for Nico? Any thoughts?
I would have dropped it slightly, but you guys hit everything I would say.
Yeah.
Like he's been like a lot of people dump on him because he's sloppy with
Yeah.
certain decisions, which I'm not going to disagree with. But the work rate he's put in since,
Yeah.
I mean, it's tremendous. The guy tracks back. He is
Yeah.
fighting for every ball. I think that's one of the major reasons Mata wanted him, and I think why Mata actually loves him in the starting lineup. He brings that defensive work rate that he wants from his forwards.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I mean,
McKennie at a 7.2. He was my other guy for man of the match. I will absolutely agree with a 7.2. Nothing to add that we already haven't, but we've got a big discussion on Mac coming up. So we'll save
But
that.
that's
Yildiz
a
6.8.
surprise in general.
we'll touch on
6.8
it.
for Yildiz. I don't know if he goes that high, to be honest.
Slightly
Victim of
more.
the circumstances, whatever you want to call it. Not maybe 6. Maybe I don't even think he reaches a 6.5. Probably a 6.3, 6.4. Kolomuani 6 even. Victim of the circumstances 100%. Not a lot of work for him.
Yeah, Ildiz was a ghost. Moani, I like comparing players to past players from the same nationality. Usually, I don't know why.
Here we go.
But I did compare him to like Trezeguet in his style of play, and by that I mean if he's not scoring, you probably won't hear from him. He can be a ghost for 90 minutes,
Yeah.
but give him, like we've seen, half a chance, and he usually buries it so far.
Yeah,
So that's fine. He's a striker in a system. He's not expected to make through passes or even assist. He's there to finish the moves. Didn't get a whole lot, and expect that more. In matches that he doesn't score, he will be very quiet. That's how I see his style of play. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'll prove me wrong soon. I hope he does.
And we'll get to some of these guys that come in for substitutions. Vlahovic entering the match at the 77th minute, 6.3 rating. Actually showed some fight and some grit, just in simple little like nothing plays about winning the ball or fighting for it out on the side. So it was really not much to take at that moment in the game. Taram 6.7. Cope Miners 6.6. I don't know what was added that would even take you from a 6. Conceição 7.1 ends up being big in that winner, and then Imbangula 7.3. Like we said, some frustrations in there, but I liked his willingness to break free from that leash on the left side. And that's where we end with the ratings. But now we got to get into the aftermath, fellas, because there's a lot going on, a lot of questions around lineup, personnel, etc. One of them is McKennie. McKennie at the 10. Some are going as far to say that is it. They have decided it is his position moving forward. Are you there? And we'll start with Luca here.
I think going into next game, 100% I start him there. For many facts. For me, the first one is the amount of work rate he puts in, as opposed to others that have gone there, is just insane. And he's running forward. He's going into open spaces. He's tracking back. Even if we're, let's say, on a counter against us, he is running back and covering. Like, he is just relentless. So that work rate, he might not have a better touch than Coop. He might not be as critical, in certain areas as others, but that work rate, what we need, he's giving it. So for me, right now, I would leave him there until we get some golden opportunity to try somebody else,
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Omer, is it his?
Yeah, I agree with Matt. I don't think he has a set position. I do think his strength is his versatility and the way we can use him in multiple positions, because it kind of changes the game. So I wouldn't, dub him as the the number 10. I think there are games where he can be super useful there, and there are games like against Como where it doesn't help much. So keep using him wherever you need someone who works tirelessly.
I I do tend to agree with that. I mean, I think yesterday, as good as a performance as he put in, his shortcomings there also came out, and it wasn't a match that was super tight for space up there in that role. So it's one of these things where I'm not at the point where that's it for the 10, but it's definitely just another feather in his cap of something he can do and go and do a job, right? So I do tend to agree with you guys that the strength is his versatility, and it's going to be where do you want him? And what's the opponent going to do? Where is he going to be most valuable to you? And that's what it's going to come down to. If we continue on with the midfield in general, because the midfield's got a lot of questions. Douglas Luiz, some mixed feelings about his performance. Some of us were saying like that's easily the best we've seen from him while being at Juventus. Others were not really, just seeing a whole bunch that had them feeling too good about it. Luiz, for me, it's quite simple. Needs more reps. He needs more reps, but this comes down to combinations in the midfield and finding who complements one another. Because for me, Locatelli and Luiz, outside of a little bit more defensive prowess from Loca, they almost just, it's pointless. Like you're having two holders. And I say you got to break it up. If Loca's in there, Thuram's there. If Luiz is in there, Thuram's there. If you want to get Coop into the mix, Cope Miners, he's got to find his spot too. Is he going to be the one pulling those strings like Luiz? Even to the degree of Locatelli, like he's got to find a spot. Sometimes you can go flat three midfield. McKennie will also have a say as a box-to-box midfield if you go flat three. But the combinations, I was not sold on Luiz and Locatelli. Am I alone on that? We'll start with Omer.
No, look, if you go back to the prediction show we did early in the season, I said immediately that one of Locatelli and Fagioli is going to suffer because the other one is going to be better, and it eventually was Fagioli. So I don't want to get into the same position with Douglas Luiz because he's basically the same role. Like you said, maybe Locatelli a bit more defensive, but they are dictating the play. There were some issues in the match where he expected someone to move forward, but they both stayed pretty far back. So they're not a good fit together for me.
Yeah.
And so I don't think they can, not in this system, at least, like in a two-man pivot. If you move to a back three, to like a midfield three, maybe you can make it work in a different way. But I think they're both are kind of the same, and you need other profiles next to them.
Yeah, in a midfield three, if you're slotting two ahead, you got like Thuram on one side, Luiz, Locatelli, like Locatelli in the heart, Luiz on the right. Like maybe it'll work, and I still have my doubts just because of how Luiz plays and how Loca essentially plays. I have a feeling it's just going to be very similar to when we were watching Loca and Fagioli, and ultimately it just, the partnership looked awkward and looked a little bit weird. So for me, you have to have all bases covered in a midfield. And Thuram still brings that driving force out of there that nobody else brings. Luca, your thoughts on combinations in the middle?
There's so much to be said here. I think it's a good problem to have, but the biggest problem for Mata right now is Luiz is finally coming into his own, but at a point in the season where we don't have the luxury of trying different experiments. You know, we need to win as much as possible and as often as possible, and these tiny changes can make the biggest difference in the game. So it's unfortunate in that aspect, and I'm going to leave it to him to figure this one out. But, you know, I'm not sold, as you said, Bert, on this Loca and Luiz. I think every midfielder we have offers something different.
Yeah.
I guess for me, the biggest deciding factor is going to be what's around them. Like we have no real issues in the mid besides picking which one is the best at the moment. But for me, it's going to depend on, who do we have available in their back line? Who do we have playing in the wings, starting? I think a lot of that needs to be considered. And one of the biggest factors is also going to be what are we playing against? What style are we playing versus? Do we need someone who holds the ball more to start? Or do we need someone that's much more driving to start? Yeah. There's so many factors, and I'll leave that to our coach. But I can't pick one.
I would like to see the pairing of Luis and Thuram. And see them head out there as pivots and whatnot. I would like to see that. And again, it's a combination I would do because I think, like I said earlier, it's one of the two. It's Luis or Luca plus Thuram. Thuram, like, it's a damn shame he's seen this much bench consecutively because the guy he's like I said, out of the midfield players, he's the only one that'll pick that thing up and go. And on the left side yesterday, would have probably helped like Yildiz tremendously and even probably Kolo Muani because the left side was so stagnant, right? We'll get to the midfield ahead of the big match against Inter, but I do tend to agree with Justin there on wanting to see that pairing. When you get to Veiga, we got to talk about Renato Veiga. So obviously the news today that there are no planned discussions. There's nothing going on. The situation with Kolo Muani is completely different. Kolo Muani, there are discussions about the future, etc. So far with Renato Veiga, there are none. I went as far to say yesterday, and I backed it up after the performance as well, because I've said he's quietly been going about his business. This guy, if he continues to play this way down the stretch of the season, I would maybe look at scrapping plans for Henko. If it's one or the other, if it's both, okay, fire away, Juntoli. But if it's one, like, I'm serious, why bring in somebody that maybe has question marks if you've got a guy right in front of you doing it with the team that you currently have actively? Like, I'm at the point where if he can consistently show a performance like yesterday more often than not down the stretch, I would literally consider it, especially given what the money could potentially be. You have to look at all that. Are you guys at that? Were you guys ever sold on Henko? Like, where are you at?
I'm not going to say maybe. I'm going to say definitely. If he keep playing like that till the end of the season, scrap Henko. I don't care. Give me someone who's already been here and knows what he's doing and already gelled with the team. It's not even a question for me.
Yeah.
Going for the unknown. Henko, again, it's just a bit of a jump at the quality at the club is playing, at the league is playing, and those are always tricky and always take time to adjust. So Veiga, I mean, he's impressive. Like I said, I like comparing players, so he kind of reminds me in his defensive style, Pepe. The way he play, and I know the way he celebrated some. I've seen some saying that it's just cheap way to get into the hearts of fans or whatever. I don't care. Celebrate whatever you want. Celebrate a tackle. Celebrate a throw-in. For all I care.
I don't know, man. Give me some heart. Give me some fight. Give me some emotion. Give me something.
Give me
some sign of life. Some sign of life.
Yeah. 10 times a match at the first minute. I don't care. Do it.
Yeah.
Ramping up the stadium, whatever you need, and he
was doing that early too with the attacks. We were getting corners, and he was yelling at them, and he's like, "Let's go," you know.
Yeah, give me more of that, and more than that, I will say what I said about Kolo Muani. It's 3-4 matches in. Pump the brakes. Let's see how the rest of the season. If you're happy by mid-April, let's say, go for the negotiations.
Yeah. And touching on this thing saying that, it's just cheap way to get fans to, appreciate you, like you, etc. Listen, how many games this season have I said that we look like mindless, soulless, possession-based robots? And it's also why I pointed to like Gatti's drive on our opening goal, because it's just like sometimes you just need that fucking intestinal fortitude to just kick in and be like, fuck it, I'm taking the reins, like I'm going for this. And we need it to not always be our center back, preferably. So somebody a little bit further up the pitch, that now all of a sudden we don't have a center back right up there at front of goal in case something happens. But yeah, like I need a little bit more of that and those types of signs of life across the lineup and throughout the lineup. But it was a big positive for me that you had a couple guys at there. And I think when you start to get more, if we can add a third into that, your whole group will feed off that. Your whole group will feed off that.
It's important because you didn't get that from your midfield. That's where you should get those driving runs, where Thuram usually does it, but not Luis and not Lucatelli. So it's completely fine because they were the ones staying back. Like if Gatti lost the ball, there was some cover there.
Yeah.
He didn't leave Veiga alone.
And I want to get Luca's touch. Were you ever sold on Henko? Are you willing to like do the same thing as us? And if Veiga continues, make the push for him instead.
For me, I haven't seen enough of Henko from the few performances I did watch that would warrant us scrapping what we now are starting to see with Veiga. So I'm with you guys on that one, especially if it's going to be probably even more. Like we don't know what Chelsea's going to come with in terms of redemption, but I think Lou said it well in our chat. Like there's a reason Chelsea didn't want to give any options. Like this guy has clearly got something.
Yeah.
So my only hope is that we could either offer them something in return, or the players' will comes into the equation. Because look, if we stay in Champions League and we remain competitive next year, and Chelsea doesn't end up in Champions League, there's a conversation to be had there for where he wants to stay. Because he was playing, they were in Conference League before. Omer, you could correct me. I mean, they weren't in Champions League, I'm pretty sure. So
Chelsea asked for 20 million apparently at first before agreeing on a loan. Yeah.
Don't forget, he's also very versatile. The guy can play as a mid and a fullback. So
the other thing is, Paulo and many fans out on social media have said both. Bring me both. Well, here's the thing. You're going to still splash, 35 to 40 that they want for Henko if you got Veiga and you could potentially keep him less. You're most likely got a situation where Cambiasso wants to join City. For me, go get yourself an out-and-out fullback. Like, you've got good money coming in. Don't give me a hybrid because Veiga already offers you that. Is probably going to be cheaper from Henko, if not the same money. Even at the same money, he's already here doing it. And again, this is all stemming if he keeps the consistency up for the season's end. But go get me an out-and-out fullback is where I'm at if you're looking at both.
That's the reasonable claim, because if you look at a roster, let's say going into next season, okay, going into the summer before we sell anyone.
Right.
And some news, I don't know if it's true or not, but one of the news outlets a few days ago said that Bremer is doing phenomenal in his recovery and we might see him by the end of May. I don't know if it's true, but I wouldn't be shocked. So let's say go into next season, because Cabal and Veiga are basically the same player for me in the spaces they occupy and what they offer to the match.
Yes, agreed.
What do you want Kalulu to do? You want him as a fullback or you want him as a center back?
Yeah.
Then you have Gatti, you have Gonzalez returning, Rugani possibly returning, Bremer. Like, let's say we sold Cambiasso for 60 million. You have to go to the fullback route, right?
Need to, yeah.
I don't. We're missing center backs now, but if everyone's healthy, we're not missing a center back.
Yeah,
100%.
So I'm at the point, like, I'm ready to scrap the Henko thing. Like, I had doubts before, and get me an out-and-out fullback. You've got Kalulu, you've got a Veiga that offer you the hybrid and versatility. And let's get an out-and-out fullback if that's the case. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do. It'd be interesting to see what they do. You guys brought up Gleison Bremer. All right. Well,
you see the new fresh cut?
Our boy was at the match. We gotta rate the cut, folks.
Kind of like it.
Yeah.
With the outfit, it's a hard 9.
Hard.
Wow, he looks
easy. Easy.
Doesn't he look like Allen Iverson?
He does a bit.
Bremer can do whatever the fuck
Yeah.
this guy wants. This guy's just a unit, all right? Like,
What
look at
size
sharp
shoe
as
does he
hell.
Look at
Like
those-
this guy can walk out there with a reverse mohawk, all right, where just the middle
Oh.
is shaved down and he'd
Oh.
still look dominant, all right? This guy can do
Oh.
whatever the hell he wants.
He's
But
got big feet.
my God, man,
Black and white, black suit, white couch.
this guy's just
awesome. Yeah.
I can't
I
wait to
love
get
it.
him back. And there's good news around him is that the recovery is going quite well, and they're talking about April for Gleison Bremer. So, hey,
It's not
let's
rush.
see. Let's see. All right. Maybe one last trip to Bergamo for recovery just to see, just see what happens. You never know.
I don't know. Especially
All
after
right.
this comeback, I think.
Bremer doesn't need the juice, man. The guy's a freak.
Don't need the juice.
Now,
He's already juiced.
Inter. Got to make it 4 in a row. Got to give him a big one of these, okay? Got to give him a big one of these. Guys, everybody get the likes up. I also said, what do we need to do? 3 wins in a row. Do we need to give a kid away? I might do
You
that
did
today,
it.
okay? We're going to have to
That's
do that.
lowering the standards. We're not lowering the standards.
No? Omer says sorry, live chat. He said he just screwed you all. He said no. Sorry.
Four in a row.
Shit standards.
Okay. You want to
That's
save
the
it for
minimum
4?
bar.
I save it for
it's
4.
Inter, so that would be a nice surprise. Let's say if they win Inter, you throw in some AJC merch too.
Whoa.
You gotta clean him out,
Yes.
Omer.
Yeah, again, not my money, so I can.
All right.
offer anything.
Omer says 4. Paulo's saying 5. Wow. So the team's not as friendly or as giving as I am. So Paulo wants 5. I want to win out the rest of the year, but yeah, we wanted to pick
what's a
up
nicer-
the morale. We wanted to boost the morale.
What's a nicer story? I got that shirt after Juve won against Inter or against Como.
You know what? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. We're gonna save it for 4. But besides this particular kit, there is another multi-kit giveaway and partnered up collab with our friends at Display Pro. All right, so you're going to actually get a kit. You're going to get a display. You don't have to put the kit you win on there. You can put any kit you want, but they're awesome displays. You see them behind me, 2 different styles, the Chiellini Buffon and then the 95-96 Champions League. Those are all on displays from Display Pro, all right? So that's coming up besides what happens with the results, okay? So we'll stay tuned. This Inter match. So we're hearing they could be without Di Marco, Thuram, and Bastoni. Potentially all 3 could be out for this game. Giddy up. But how do we line up? How do you want to see Juventus line up to face Inter?
Well, first of all, it's not usually about they kind of beat us systematically and not just by the quality of some of their players. So it is going to be tough. It's not going to make it easy. And what lineup do I want to see?
Shit.
I'm let's say Cambiaso makes it.
You put
Although
him in right away?
That's the thing. No, I don't think so. So never mind. I don't think I'll start him right away.
That was gonna be a hot take.
Does anybody in the chat put him in right away if he's fit? I'm curious. Hit us with your lineups, what you want to see in this Inter match. But there's some question marks. There's like the midfield is a question mark. I think even in the attack you have several options.
Yeah, I mean in defense, because of a weakness in crosses, and Inter are very good at crossing corners, set pieces, whatever. I would probably like the tall guys there. So Kelly, Veiga, Gatti, and possibly Wea.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? No, get McKennie in left back. Because I think he's gonna have a nightmare against Dumfries, Kelly. And so get McKennie there, Veiga, Gatti, and Wea. Midfield is the big one. I want to go the safe route with Thuram, Lucatelli. And yeah, let's stick to that. Now the attacking one could be Douglas Luiz. I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it. Flanks, Ildiz and Chico, and Colomwani.
You know what? I could probably get behind that. So you got to ask yourself, is this the game for 3 actual midfielders in, or do you take that playmaker and put them in the 10? I totally agree that at the back, I want McKennie back there. So I have the same back line as you. I'm putting McKennie at left back. As far as the middle, I think I would follow up with Luis again. I'm just torn if I do bump him up. But it could be the midfield of Thuram, Locatelli, and Luis. This could be the game for it, and I probably would go that route. Chico and Yildiz. I'd actually play Yildiz personally on the right side, and I'd have Nico on the left to start the game. I'd probably bring Chico on second, and the only reason is because I don't want Yildiz. Like, I want him playing on our predominant side of the right, because he's going to get more reps in, and I want him on the ball more than I want Nico. Nico will drift centrally. He'll find pockets. He'll get involved in the area, so I'm not worried about it, and I'd probably go that route. It's Colomwani up top to start, without a doubt. Cope Miners is behind the 8 ball, and he's got to dig himself out of where he's at. Bottom line.
We have Eindhoven 3 days next to where whoever doesn't start, I'm sure he'll start against Eindhoven in the return leg. And tons of matches. Like, players can complain they're not getting enough minutes now. I think everyone is getting it. I think it's distributed correctly right now between the team. I don't feel like anyone is. Maybe Thuram's benching was a bit weird for the past 3 games.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird. He needs to get in there. Inter, he
question
needs to get
is,
back
do we
in
see
there.
Alberto? Do we see Alberto in this match?
I've been ready the whole time, I tell you, but this ain't the match. Maybe as a sub, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We got to get Luca's lineup. So, Luca, what are you feeling?
Now, I'm loving what you guys are saying. I would have no issues with that.
But you're going to shit on.
No, but personally, I would do exactly the same lineup we had yesterday, same lineup, but I would actually take Luis out for Thuram. Like, I want a mid 3 of Luca, Thuram, and McKennie. Like, I think that is, like, our mid against Inter just, I think, needs to be the most hardworking and most physical possible.
And who are you playing at left back?
I would leave Kelly there. I know that's questionable, but if you have Thuram on that left side with him to double up on the defensive duties, I think we could pull it off.
But if they start with Darmian, like they did in the last match, then I have no issues with Kelly.
Yeah.
Just Dumfries is having a great season so far, and I don't think he'll be able to keep up with the pace.
No issues with Kelly. I'm not confident in that one. I don't know. I think it's risky business, but sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit. Boom.
But that's why.
Risk for a biscuit fucked up statistic.
Well, got to one up. Storm the barn, everybody. Again, get those likes up, okay? Get those likes up. We're going to rock and roll here. We'll try machine gun some. We got some time. Giannatina70, was that the best performance this season for Douglas Luiz? I think so. Yeah, we all touched on it earlier. It's easily best showing from Luiz, and he needs more reps. And again, Cope Miners is the one that's got to dig himself out from there. Interesting words from Mota, because we've been shouting about it. All of us as fans have been shouting at it for a while. Is like, if you're going to preach meritocracy, get it dialed in. And he actually stepped up to say, this is a collective game, and I am the first who needs to improve many things. I have always acknowledged I'm the leader of this team, and I am the one to take the front of the blame. What I need from the players is the right attitude, and the rest will come in the right way. Well, hopefully sooner rather than later. Diago, let's get cooking, okay? Alex Juve coming in here. Knowing Inter plays on the flanks, are we really playing Kelly left back? So we just got into this, and Luca's willing to do it. A few in the chat are willing to do it. Myself, not so much. But let's see. Storm the Barn 2. Are we playing Thuram in the mid-sun? Absolutely.
I think we all agree on that one.
Absolutely has to be starting that game. It's funny to see him the one on 3 benchings kind of in a row to start games when he's been the one, I went as far to say yesterday's show, has been the most consistent of anyone in the midfield. Hands down.
Aside from Lucatelli, maybe.
I think even there, Thuram has not given you, because Luca had some questionable plays that cost us goals, and like Thuram has been locked in and getting better. So
he does make mistakes, but Luca's made them decisively in our box. That's the only difference.
Yeah,
but that's Luca's role. He's the captain. He wants to be everywhere. Yes, he did have a few mistakes. Who didn't? I think because he played more throughout the season. Like Lucatelli is there from match day 1. He was barely benched, and we hyped him up a lot and talking about his consistency more than once. So I still think he's top performer in midfield consistency wise, but Thuram is right up there. I mean, he's not far off.
Yeah. Early thoughts and feelings going into the match. Let's talk about just the feelings in general, and this is one of those matches, everybody knows, Guido Vacciago is the guy I rip into quite often, okay? He's always riding my coattails 2 weeks later, but he did come out with a tweet that it's actually fair and accurate in the assessment overall and factoring in PSV match, just saying that it's not a good result. He's wrong there because winning is always a good result.
It's a good result.
Okay, so you're wrong about the result, Guido. You mutt. Winning is good, so it's a good result. But he said Juventus have managed to record their 3rd consecutive win of the season against PSV for the first time this season. Great that we did it. Sad that it's February 12th. While Juventus was not great tonight, it was better than the one against Como. Well, hell, the bar wasn't set very high, so yes.
Yeah.
But the Bianconeri showed the same warrior spirit that allowed them to overcome a difficult moment during the match. Undoubtedly, we need to take this victory pragmatically, because with every Juventus victory, there is a feeling of wanting more. Most important is this seems to be a united group, willing to sacrifice for each other. So I don't think he's wrong in anything he said, other than the fact that, yes, it's a good result to win. Dumb. Now, in terms of the rest, that's how our wins have been feeling lately. So do we carry anything going into the Inter match that is off of this 3-game win streak, or is it basically like you're walking in from scratch?
It's Juve Inter. What happened before doesn't matter. It never matters. My general thoughts are about the next game. Like, how is it going to affect the away leg against Eindhoven? Because if we lose that match, that team's mentality is fragile. That's been the case all season. And if they lose that match at home against Inter, it could have implications. That's my worry.
Good point.
With this match. Now, Forza Inter is here in the chat, so he's saying, I can't believe I said it. He's saying, like, the injuries that we're talking about are not, like, guaranteed.
Yeah, they're all minor. They can all find themselves in there. DeMarco's got a flu probably because he's around a disgusting club. Bastoni needed some rest. Yeah, because he's weak. And Thuram has a slight ankle issue. Yeah, you got the wrong brother. So yeah, that's basically a summary of that one. Hey, buddy, it's Juve Inter. Come on, we're gonna fire some shots. I know he appreciates it. He likes the banter.
They didn't play midweek, and they're not playing midweek next week. So I feel like they do have a slight advantage. They are a better team this season, but like I said, it doesn't matter. Juve Inter is always Juve Inter, and anything can happen. I'm positive, and a win there. I'm saying this now. A win there guarantees qualification against Eindhoven.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's not like the other times. I was wrong.
I'll go like into the same kind of instance what Omer's saying, because I agree. I see it the same as like, it's the Derby d'Italia, it's Juve, it's Inter. I mean, if these guys can't get up for it, whatever, nothing else matters. You could be walking into this game on a brutal streak or whatever. You've got to pick it up for this. It's that game. It's that club, the history behind it, etc. And if they are not aware of it, Jesus Christ, I got some DVDs I'll send over to them. Like, wake up, you guys, okay? Get up for it. But this one is one that, even if it comes ugly, even if it comes like Guido Vacciago says, you got to be pragmatic about it. No, fuck that.
Guido.
However it comes, you take the lift from it. But the follow-up is key, and that will fall on Motta. And I think what he's doing with certain guys, and now starting to realize that Cole Miners has to dig himself out. He's got to earn all those minutes. It's probably going to head in the right direction because there are guys ahead, so let's see what happens. Luca, your feelings going into the match?
Oh, shit. Look, they barely scraped past Fiorentina. That's my only saving grace right now. Like, I mean, we didn't have a great time with Fiorentina either, but they're not coming off the same form as I'd say we are. They do have less playing time right now because, again, they didn't have the midweek game, but I think, like, momentum's on our side. They did win their last game, but not convincingly, in my opinion. So, yeah, I feel hopeful, but like you said, it's a derby. It's Merida. Anything can happen. We could, we could mop the floor with them, or they could do the same to us. So, arguably the best I felt going into a very top, let's say, a top four oriented opponent all season. I'd say
it's in our house too. So let's get everybody fired up. Let's, again, same rules apply. Fire up the alarm clock, Metallica, Jagerbomb. Let's go. So let's see what happens. But I'm ready for it. I am ready for it. That watch along is going to be fire, by the way, everybody. Also, everybody that was rocking it with me yesterday for the Champions League match, absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. I maintain that Kelly seems like a bit of a donkey.
I mean, besides his facial hair, sure.
A bit of a donkey. I hope I'm wrong.
Like
I know it's early, but does anyone else have the same feeling? I think that, like, honestly, it's just so soon. There's been many guys in the past that have taught me to just wait and see and not just jump to the conclusions that, you know what, you've been awful where you came from, etc., whatever. It's not written in stone. Nothing is a guarantee in hits and misses. Nothing is a guarantee. How many did we think we were getting hits and they ended up being misses? Let's just wait and see. You might be right, though. He could end up winning AJC Donkey of the Year at season's end, but right now, I think it's...
but we'll dish it up.
So.
He's a Premier League type defender, similar to Smalling. Those guys are fine. Like, physically, he could be good for Juve in a certain position, but time will tell. It's way too early.
Yeah, and we also have to wait and see. I mean, like, to dethrone Skanga from Donkey of the Year for AJC, who's on like 4 years on the trot, would be a hell of a feat. So
it would take an absolute miracle.
Oh yeah.
Can you make like a trophy of a donkey, and like what they're doing in Italy with what's it called?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. What is that called? I don't know why it's eluding me right now. They'll know in the chat. They'll hit us with it.
Oh wait, I'll tell you.
Okay, so the same one we already tackled there for Louise. Yes, we got it. Tuna Steaks. Am I the only one worried that we only scored 2 against PSV heading into their home turf? They aren't a great side, but they can punish us with the fans behind them. Bidone d'oro. Yes,
Bidone.
there you go.
Wow.
And then there's the Tapiro d'oro. I get into this one. I'm not that concerned. I just wanted a advantage and one goal. Like, I'm not concerned. It doesn't. I would have loved a multi-goal lead going in there, but I'm happy with one on them going into that game. I think we'll continue to grow with this group, and like Veiga and Gatti, it's trending the right direction. Do you maybe change something up at the back? Is Kelly going to go out there again? Probably, but I think we could have had more out of that game yesterday. And they need to remember that, despite the fact going into their house, that we could do it. And we could still add to our tally. So if anything, they're the ones with the pressure. They're the ones that are facing elimination. And that should, in turn, get them to open up more and should give us more space. And we have the guys that can punish. So I actually like the fact that we go there with an advantage. I think going their level would be ugly. That would have been ugly. Guys.
Yeah, also no away goals, so that makes it even a bit easier. I think we should win it, although they are a better team at home with their crowd. But still, you want to be one of the top. You got to win those away matches too. In tough venues, wherever, you got to make something out of it. I think I'm fairly confident we're going through.
I'm pretty confident too. I'm pretty confident. I actually said we were going to go through. I said we were going to go through.
Or about
Hopefully
71%.
Would you swap Cope Miners with Kolomoani with some cash if PSG and Juve were open to moving on? I know it's fast, but just an idea. So let's just say hypothetically, PSG wanted Cope Miners, would be willing to do this move. Do you make it?
Again, it's just I haven't seen enough.
Too early.
Of Colo to say, yeah, he's the one we should give our highest paid player now to Paris Saint-Germain. I need to see more. The answer might be yes in a couple of months, but right now, I
and that goes
even
for both of
hypothetically, I
them.
can't make a judgment yet.
Yeah. It's hard to completely give up on the guy like that, whatnot. But if you had a reset, we asked that question too yesterday. One player that you could reset, maybe it does become Cope by season's end. We wait and see. It's tough call to make. Right now, at this moment in time,
Well, yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of...
One's a starter, one's not right now.
Coop is not a bad player. Something isn't working.
There's no way this guy just forgot how to friggin' play like football. Come on.
That's the thing. I feel like he's missing some tweaks in his game to actually start being important, relevant. I can't put my finger on why he's so bad. Why he's so just not connected with the rest of the team and the attack. Yeah, it's really a mystery, to be honest.
It is. It's wild. We got to get him going, though. Like, you got to get this guy playing. He's got a lot of good positive traits. And, I mean, God, he scored a worldy free kick for us. Like, he's good on dead balls. Like, you got to get him in the mix, and you got to get him comfortable out there. And that's one of the things is, like, these guys got to be comfortable in the roles they're playing. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter. So it's just about finding that sweet spot with them. And the combination in the midfield is going to have a lot to do with that too. He's got to find a way to impact games.
Yeah.
Now, what do we got? We had Locatelli there a while ago, but where do we stand on Juve's man of the season as of February? So you got to pick an MVP right now at this moment in time for the season so far. Who is it for you?
Oof. MVP so far.
Still Luca for me.
Yeah, I think it's still Locatelli for me.
I don't think anyone has dethroned him as of right now.
Who's second though?
Everyone's been like a roller coaster. They had their moments in the season, and then they dipped and went injured and came back, and he was consistent. And someone said here most minutes or up there third or second for most minutes this season. Weston is a good shout.
Some shouts for Weston. That's a good shout. Some shouts for Kalulu.
just the amount of minutes he played, and like how many mistakes can you point out in a crucial role like the midfield general.
Yeah.
From beginning of season till now, I can't recall too many from Locatelli. So
Yeah.
I think it's still the one.
What are the current chances of Italy getting a 5th Champions League spot? Well, where are we even sitting on it? Who's tracking the
Spain.
actual?
I think it's Spain who are tracking us right now, and it kind of depends on who progresses. Also, Conference League and Europa League, not only
Yeah.
Champions League. We are in a good position. Like if Juve and Milan go through.
Basically, we need all the Italian teams to win tonight. All right.
We need them to step their shit up.
Saying there's a chance. Assuming Cambiaso is sold and they bring Veiga and Hanko in, who's the starting backline next year?
A lot of assumptions.
None of them. No, if they sell Cambiaso, I know. Yesterday after the show,
What do you play
I asked
Cabal ahead of is Hanko coming in to be left back? Is Veiga playing left back because he can do it too? Like
That's the thing. I don't know what we're missing
don't have any
exactly. I would
fullbacks.
like a different profile for left back. Someone like Grimaldo,
Yeah.
someone who can offer what
Bremer and Gatti was fantastic before Bremer got hurt. So it might not be any of these guys. It could be Cabal, Bremer, Gatti, and whatever. Like who?
Kalulu could still be
right
back.
Yeah, but Bremer and Veiga could be very, very good with Veiga being the ball playing back there. And then you've got Bremer, left back. Cabal can come in there and do his thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's Kalulu going out on right back. I'm going to go with that one. I'll take that one.
Yeah.
Stronger, Yildiz Weah or Yildiz Mack?
In what context?
In terms of like the
Weah
wing,
or Yildiz Mack?
I think the combination on the wing. I think. I'd say Yildiz Weah. I mean, Weah has been lights out.
I'm confused with McKennie being in there.
Yeah, I need some clarification on what the hell. Like, are we talking about a ping pong game? Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, I don't know.
I need clarification.
I'm a bit confused on that one, Pino. Sorry. Miran, do you think Gatti was motivated by seeing Dusan talking shit about him on the bench during previous game? If yes, that tells more about Gatti needing motivational coaching from Motta. Armband question mark. I'm going to be quite honest, and I said it all along. These guys do that shit all the time.
All the time.
It happens on teams left, right, and center. It's a part of actually holding you guys like accountable. And you will, like I've been on, you call guys out, you say, man, you need to be doing way better. Like step it up. There's guys always ready to take your spot. And that can be seen as a reminder of that. So it's like, well, honestly, in Gatti's case, there is nobody to take his spot. So he's kind of safe in that sense. So maybe he does need it. Because these guys have played so many minutes, but I don't look too much into what happened. That happens everywhere. Dusan just made the mistake of not covering his fucking mouth.
What's it called? Because they have it like in the NBA and NFL, the sound effects.
Oh yeah, they got him mic'd up. It's called
mic'd up.
Yeah, so it happens all the time. Like if you watch those videos of what they're saying on the bench, then it happens all the time. Players talk about their teammates in the match, and he should have just covered his face. But I wouldn't be surprised if that would be introduced into football soon, and you'll get to hear all they're saying on the bench.
Ooh, that would be bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of all our winter signings, who are you most excited about, Luca?
Oh shit! I mean, it's still too early, but. For me, Veiga, just because we needed a center back, and he's been providing what we needed. I mean, look, one, he's been great, but I mean, for me, just as a personal bias, a center back, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. It's tough to choose.
Yeah, Omer.
Yeah, we haven't seen Alberto, so he's out. Kelly just arrived on deadline day, so can't really judge him. So it's between Veiga and Colo. I think it's Colo. and because he got us some very important points. He's kind of responsible for that streak. Our issue wasn't necessarily defending, it was scoring, and he came in and immediately just clogged that gap. So far it's Colo for me, but Veiga is right up there. I mean, he's doing phenomenal.
I'd say a part of me that has me more excited for Kolo Muani is the fact that there actually are discussions for carrying it forward. I don't want to get too attached to Veiga, although I am impressed so far, and I'm excited about him. I am excited about him. Kolo Muani with the slight edge, because there could be some end game there. We're going to machine gun the last few here, everybody. Which Juve player do you think represents the cast members? I already have Ravanelli as Skanga for obvious reasons, gray hair, and Rabiot as Lou because of his hard work that goes unnoticed. Oh, Lou's going to love that one. Love it.
That one.
Okay, you have to pick a cast member or a player that represents, so it could be obviously past or present, that represents a cast member. Let's try and have some fun here. First off, let's go with Luca. So Omer, you and I, let's get one for Luca.
Let's try to be nice here. Let's not be assholes. Okay.
Hey, you don't even know what I'm going to say. Luca is known to be very, very attached to players, sometimes very quickly, all right? So he's an emotional. It's got to be an emotional player, a player that showed, wore his heart on his sleeve, you know? That's got to be somebody for Luca.
I got someone.
Let's go.
Although everything you say is true, but he also is not around a lot. So for me, he is Sami Khedira.
I'll take that. That's pretty funny.
All right. Now you guys,
but not around. Come on.
You guys have to come up with one for me.
Oh, that's tough.
And shit. Chat, you can fire away too with this. So
what are we basing it off?
That's up to you guys.
I mean, if we're going off what Omar said, like, you're always here. So
I want to say Allegri, but I feel like it's an insult, so I live
That's
aside.
a bit of
I don't want to
insult.
insult anyone.
Oh, look at that. Shouts for Buffon, Del Piero. Come on. Grigera. Dels. Grigera.
Yeah, Pirlo's also on the older spectrum, so it's got to be an older player too.
No, I think Ciro Ferrara.
Hey, I'll take Ciro, man.
That's good. I like that.
I like Ciro.
Yeah,
Ciro was huge for us, man.
Yeah, I think Ciro is fine.
And now, Luca, we got to fire at Omer here. So,
I know who, by the way. It's like knowing myself, I know exactly who. But let's see if you get it.
Bert, what are you thinking?
So he's so calm. He's always so calm, like too calm. Like you almost have to fucking fire this guy up to get him going. He's so calm, level-headed. If we're going on looks, it's Bonucci or Chiellini. Okay.
100%.
But if we're going on personality, it's completely different. Completely different.
Who has no emotions?
Well, he's not no emotions.
No, I know,
but he's very, very calm. Very, very calm. Too calm to where you're looking for signs of life.
He would make me think of Tech. Like, I don't know why. The smoking doesn't help.
Smokes, very calm.
Very calm, yeah.
Zidane used to smoke too. Come on. We have some Zidane shouts in the chat. Buffon used to smoke, although I'm not a Buffon.
Yeah, no, it's either Zizou or Tech for me. Those are good, accurate ones. I'll give you that.
Szczesny could be the one. He smokes, but calm.
He's a savage when he wants to be too. So I feel like Szczesny's
and on cue. Let's give him Tech. Let's give him Tech. Because Zidane was not calm. Zidane was throwing headbutts. Like, let's be serious here.
Yeah, very rarely. Like when you pushed him over the line.
As Omer's about to tell a story about headbutting somebody in line at the grocery store.
No. I never headbutted anyone.
So far.
No, so far, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's gold. Okay, so how would you say? Who would you say about yourself? I would go with Pinsolio.
Pinsolio.
Yeah, I'm very good just sitting there, hyping everyone up, but not really participating. I like that position a lot, so I'm going to go with Pinsolio for me.
All right. Luca, who would you say for yourself?
I would have gone with either Gatti or Perin right now. Both of them. I just, like, I'm perfectly okay being passionate as hell. Like, you guys can know that. But, you know, sometimes I'm just not there, as Omer said. So I'll take either of them.
Who the heck would I pick for myself, man? I don't even know. I never really thought about it as a representation. Maybe Camoranesi just for the work.
Oh,
the work rate.
I could see that.
The work rate.
That's
a lot
nice.
of shit in behind the scenes and a lot of stuff. Like, I'd say Camo. I'm happy with that. Loved Camo. Cool. Now, who are we picking for Lex?
Okay, can it be from the Juve women's team?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's got to be from the women's team.
Could be men's or women's, whatever.
That's rude.
So she's, I want to say Girelli, just because I've never seen her upset. She's always smiling. She's always happy and positive. But I think
Lex wants everyone to pick Dybala for her, and we can't give it to her, guys.
We're not doing it.
We can't do that specifically because that's what she wants. Somebody said Aaron Ramsey. Right now, she is injured. So she would hate Ramsey, so we're not going to do that.
Oh, you guys are awful.
Hell hath no fury like a woman scored, so we're not going to give her Ramsey, okay? Girelli, okay. What about Lucci? Well, Lucci.
Oh.
I know, I have one.
Pellegrini. 100% Pellegrini. He looked exactly the same.
Luca Pellegrini.
Oh, my God.
I want to give him... shit, I forgot. I had a good one.
Or Rugani. I don't know why.
Rugani is also looks kind of like him.
That's what I'm saying. It's all looks and nothing else.
Yeah, but Rugani was became reliable. Lucci, reliability?
He's been stuck for
Skanga, I'm going to give Zabina.
Oh,
he's around, but...
Whose knees are bent? Who's the guy who's at the bench?
That's harsh. Like, Rotalia is a good shout for Tony.
Ligrota for Tony.
Yeah.
It's great. This is fun stuff. We're going to go into a final one. Oh, hang on a sec. We got, we'll machine gun these. Would you replace Motta in the summer with Palladino or Italiano? I have not made any decisions on bailing on anybody at this juncture of the season.
Agreed.
I mean, can keep recycling those names, and eventually one's going to hit. We get Palladino, it doesn't work out. We get another up-and-coming coach until something hits.
I stand firm, though. I stand firm. So what I could say is I haven't given up on our man yet, but as far as Palladino or Italiano, I will say this. My next coach, I want somebody established, and I don't want to cheap out. So I would look for that first. A strong CV, a strong personality, and I wouldn't go the route of Palladino or Italiano. That's just me personally. Okay? Dells, question from an asshole friend. Do you go out to PSV next week or qualify and guarantee a 5-0 aggregate defeat against either Arsenal Inter? Personally, I'm going out to PSV. Hypothetical. So would you rather go out to PSV to prevent a 5-0 aggregate defeat if that's what was going to happen to either Arsenal or Inter, or do you go and face that 5-0 aggregate defeat?
I'm not getting kicked out by Eindhoven.
What type of question is this? It clearly is an asshole friend.
You move forward because even in that defeat, I'll take the 11 million and go that towards the number. So, yeah, we move forward. We don't lose to PSV. We don't lose to PSV. Let's go. We're moving forward. But I definitely 5-0 aggregate to either one of those teams.
It's not happening.
Ain't going to happen, though.
You have 11 million to wipe your eyes with.
Did you notice how it feels when you have a left-footed center back, Veiga? If he stays, he should be a starter for me. He could very well do it. We're all impressed. We like the stuff so far, but it must continue, and it's got to continue this weekend. We've got Inter, we've got Juve. We are hosting Merda, and yeah, we'll bring those snakes in and hopefully we can cut off their heads and get the 4th in a row. I'm going to bring you the news in the build up to that game. I'm already hyped up for it, all right? There's going to be banter flying around there. We're going to have a lot of fun, all right? And I had a lot of fun today. Victory shows, always great. Let's add a 4th in the row. And remember, Omer said, bring us 4 and then the kick giveaway. Omer, Luca, always an absolute pleasure, fellas. Live chat, as always, you're second to none. The AJC Army is the best around. Drop a like, please, on your way out. If you enjoyed something out of the show, feel free to clip it, share it, do whatever. We appreciate all the support, all right? And, of course, again, as always, no matter what, fino alla fine, forza Juventus. Let's get ready. Let's get ready to cut some heads off some snakes. I hope we do it. Let's go. Ciao tutti.